Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Fielding. I am the Executive Director of Red Berets Medicare for All. And what's the video about? It's about how Representative Jayapal should endorse whole Washington, in a nutshell. If I can make the first couple of minutes just a direct call to action, please go to Representative Jayapal's Twitter feed, where she tweets yesterday, Medicare for all. That's it. That's the tweet. Do I need to find some words? I probably need to find my words. So I wrote, once upon a time, I went live to ask Rep Jayapal's endorsement of whole Washington 5204. Let me go to whole Washington's feed, and then I'm going to give everybody some background information here. Let's see. What have we got? Got to scroll down just a little bit. So whole Washington retweeted Medicare for all. That's the tweet. I think everybody here could agree with the fact that tweets are not enough. By the way, they're not enough for us either. So just to make sure that everybody understands that it's not only our progressives that need to, our elected progressives that need to be doing more. It's all of us. We got to find a way, even if it's just, even if it's wearing a whole Washington t-shirt and a red beret with a Medicare for all button out when you go to do your grocery shopping or go do some errands or be seen in your community. Demand Medicare for all. Or, mention it sometime. Try to open up some conversations with people. Try to spur them into action. I don't know. I'm even I was looking at the Facebook event, the whole Washington event, for our upcoming action that we have a documentary filmmaker coming into town. And I don't see nearly enough RSVPs. This will be the second time that whole Washington and all of our coalition partners and allies have had an enormous opportunity with finally, after several years, something national. Scott DeNoyer signed up to come. He's flying across the United States from New York. Lisa Serafini's coming. Carlene Myers, if that's you that's watching, Nurse Carlene, she's coming. So if I can ask calls to action, if you're in Washington State and or you are somewhere and you know people in Washington State, please. This is not difficult. I have people asking all the time, how do I get in touch and what's the best way to get started with whole Washington? It's called, I link the website all the time, wholewashington.org. And there's, this really amazing tab that comes down and it's got all kinds of different things that are pretty easy to follow. It's like how to get involved. What can I do immediately? Let me get back to Rep Jayapal. So whole Washington retweets Medicare for all. That's it. That's the tweet. They say, we agree. That is why we have been organizing for years, all caps, to pass a statewide Medicare for all system here in Washington. There are statewide campaigns in Washington, California, and New York, and they could pass with the support of Rep Jayapal, Ro Khanna, Rep AOC, and it's the one-payer state strategy. Let's call it I like the one-payer state strategy. I'm not correcting you, whole Washington. I would never, no, just kidding. I would, because they tagged at one-payer states. So it is the one-payer state strategy. It is also the solidarity strategy. It is also the strategy that had we employed this strategy like several years ago and had elected progressives who had the attention of 16 or 17,000 people in working class Tacoma say, the overwhelming majority of that stadium in Tacoma didn't know about whole Washington. And when Bernie and Rep. Jayapal left the rally, those 16 or 17,000 people still did not know about whole Washington. The people that left there knowing about wholewashington.org were because myself and another 2 or 3 volunteers, Carlene came and supported me all day. Can't remembering all the, Sean Kavanaugh, our campaign director. He was working the lines, moving up and down. Our Revolution Bernie-crat coalition was around doing their event organizing. We had a table. We had a table outside the Tacoma Dome. This is the situation. Like, I understand, like, they couldn't have a bunch of us, like, inside because there really wasn't, that's not what they did. Although having said that, there were actually tables and all kinds of things for people to come in and check in, and quite a lot of open space. I wonder what that would have been like to have a single payer organization be invited to be just inside the threshold. But let me not harp on that too much, because that could have very well been not the state leadership, not the Bernie Washington state leadership campaign. It could have been the rules of the Tacoma Dome, and if they have one person in there, they have them all. I would argue that whole Washington is, but whatever. I can argue till the point is, anyone who left that day, of the 16 or 17,000 people that knew about whole Washington that didn't know before, when they left, it's because we had a table. So myself and some other dedicated volunteers set up our stand-up Bernie with a red beret on him, with a whole bunch of red berets, with a whole bunch of whole Washington buttons, sign-up sheets, sign up to pledge to collect signatures. And we sold some red berets, and we made a little bit of money. People donated for red berets, and we gave it to whole Washington. I've had enough of this shit. That's really pretty much what I'm getting down to here. Kenny Ballantyne, as you all know, documentary filmmaker, heard about us on Amped Up Podcast with Ryan Knight. He's coming here to Tacoma in a week and a couple of days. We're going to be doing a direct action in Tacoma at Representative Kilmer's office, demanding that he co-sponsor Representative Jayapal's bill. Now, I've done other videos. You can go look all of these up so I don't repeat myself for those people who have listened and don't want to hear the same stuff over and over again. Lost my train of thought for just a second. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's going to continue to be even more embarrassing. It's going to continue to look even more embarrassing, because who introduces legislation for Medicare for all has an entire statewide grassroots universal healthcare organization that's been fighting for this and begging for her support and her endorsement for years now. Unless she's planning on surprising us and coming down to Tacoma to help rally with the troops, why are we doing more for her bill? And, no, I'm just done. I am done. I'm done being like diplomatic and nice about it. I will always turn around and just be, if we get that endorsement, then I will turn around and retweet and thank her and do all that. I feel like I'm probably yelling into the camera. This is embarrassing. That's what this is. You literally have an entire state, the home state of Representative Jayapal, Medicare for all, healthcare justice champion, author of the bill that is going to be reintroduced, And the only way that we can get attention for our organization after years of organizing, not just for one payer states, not just for whole Washington. We have a bill, SB 5204, but we also have organized barnstorms. We've organized for Bernie. We've organized the barnstorms with National Nurses United in solidarity of 1384. And she knows about us. I actually got a bullshit response when I called on the phone recently, letting her know, out of a courtesy, by the way, letting her know, hey, we are in the process. We have a documentary filmmaker who is coming up here to hear the story of the grassroots, and we're doing this wonderful event. So I've given them and I'm going to call them again, by the way. I'm going to get on the phone and call again, just so that there can be no confusion. But when I did call, you see, they're very good at this. Even the progressive, don't be fooled about this. It's no different when you call one of these progressive stalwarts, right? You get the talking points and they treat you like you are some kind of idiot. Because I get a response like, oh, does she know about you? You have no idea how I had to refrain from just taking my anger out on that poor person who is just being paid to give us talking points. Yes, she goddamn well knows about us. Yes, she has known about us for years now. I am so tired of this. I am so tired of asking nicely and begging our progressives to help the grassroots. It's actually extremely embarrassing that supposedly the biggest or one of the biggest Medicare for All champions, right alongside Bernie Sanders, has been effectively ignoring the grassroots of her entire state, the entire infrastructure of people who know about us, who are fortunate enough to know about us. We've been ignored. And just in case anyone doubts what it is I'm saying, let me walk you back to 2018 when we did ballot initiative 1600. I need to calm down, but I'm just furious. I'm furious that, you know what I thought? I naively, because I've always got some element of, I think it's good in a certain sense that I've still got enough hope, that I'm still not so jaded, right? I actually naively thought, at least part of me did. I probably also had this cynical part too, but at least part of me was holding out hope that as soon as they got in the clear and Biden was elected, and all of us had this argument, like, really, that's not anything better. He's not going to give us anything. He's going to continue the perpetual wars. He's not going to end for-profit prisons. He's not going to give us he's going to veto Medicare for all. So all of the people who actually know about all this policy, we just had to keep tweeting and keep organizing and keep waiting it out because it was complete bullshit. And we all know that we were getting anything under Biden, anything of any real value. Let's be really honest about that, okay? Compared to what it is that he needs to do right now and what he could do, like, I'm not even interested. No, he's awful. He's a corporate tool. He was installed in order to stop and kill the progressive agenda. And the Democrats are dancing. The progressive Democrats they're treating him again like he's my friend, my good friend, Joe Biden. He's not my friend. He's not the friend of 68,000 people that are dying every single year. So let's be really honest about this. We have no bloody pathway to Medicare for all besides one-payer states. And if we look right up to the north, that's how they passed it. So, yeah, how do I even go on about this? In 2018, I wish I could remember what piece of legislation or what it was. Georgia Davenport would remember. I always lean on her. Georgia Davenport would remember. All I knew is I was taking my I-1600 petition board up. We mobilized quickly. We all got that she was doing this press conference, press conference, right up a couple of streets up from Pike Place Market. Whatever. And like, obviously, the way this works is if you've got a story to tell and it's all about your legislation that you're introducing, I to a certain extent I get it that that they all wanted to make, her staffers and everyone wanted to make sure that nothing about whole Washington got seen by the media. But just to give you all an idea of the numbers there, it was less, around about between 75 and 100 people. And this isn't the first time. I have told this story once before, but now I'm going to start telling it over and over again because I'm getting furious now. Now I blew past like my effort to go on for force the vote. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. And unless there's some kind of magical surprise up her sleeve, like she's going to magically come down to our event and stand with us, that would be amazing, by the way. If Representative Jayapal, if you see this, or if any of your staff or any of your advisors see this, I think it would be a really, really powerful move to people that are beginning to feel even that the progressive Democrats are irredeemable, to be quite literally blunt with you. Fraud squad? Is that what you want? Is that what you want things to trend? The reason that that's a thing is because you have an entire state of organizers who have had no press attention, who have been growing for the last several years, and who went to this event of 75 or 100 people. And about 30% of us, maybe slightly more, were whole Washington volunteers. So we made up we weren't quite half, but it was somewhere, between 30 and 40% of that group. So we all went up there, and it was kind of arranged in a sort of circular thing. And we all had imagine this, we all had our red berets on. Not all but a lot of us, we had red berets. We had our whole Washington bright red t-shirts, and we had these big homemade, these campaign yard signs kind of cut in half, homemade petition boards with this nice label on the back that said, please, I-1600, please sign I-1600, sign the petition to get universal health care to the ballot. So all of us showed up with our ballot in hand, and it's a tall thingy, right? And here we are all in our whole Washington red and red berets, and we show up and we're listening because there's, speakers and everything there. Well, at one point, like I'm standing up on tiptoe. I'm wanting to make sure that at least my red beret, some of my whole Washington red, because I had a whole Washington button on it. I wanted to make sure that I was seen in the camera angle. That's how I don't care if she didn't want us in that angle. We had called her office before that. We had emailed her. She had been reached out to. Hey, can you support us? Can you give us an endorsement, or at least give a public statement that you've signed to get it to the ballot? So this wasn't some sort of surprise attack. That's what you have to do in order to be heard as a constituent. Is you have to show up to these things because you've called and you've emailed and you've gone to the town halls and they won't take the right questions, or they only have a few questions and they know who not to call. I don't know. But I'm just telling you that whole Washington had gone through the appropriate channels to make sure that she knew about us. And then one of the staffers came up to me because my petition board, I was holding it up, but this was before they started filming or anything. And she said, "Oh, can you go ahead and keep your petition board down? We don't want any of those like in the camera." And I said, "I know you don't." I came home later that afternoon, and because we had all kind of spread out around the circle. They managed, the camera people were very good, and they were directed to do this. Believe me, there's no way that you could have 30% or more of the people who had shown up to this event, basically nobody seen on that camera in red. There wasn't a speck of whole Washington red or a red beret or a petition board in sight. So they were very skillful about that. Okay, so let's go to part B and be like, well, okay, but come on, Laura, be reasonable. That was her press event. That was for her legislation. And it kind of fractures the messaging if any of that other stuff, and then that becomes the story. And that's not the story. Fair enough. Like, okay. I'll put that aside. I'll bite. I'll buy that. I'll say that's fine. After the press conference, we tried to approach her, tried to get the question, but she had her staffers all around her. They ushered her away. We weren't able to get any signature or any statement on whole Washington. That's just one example. Okay. So when I call up her office here, whatever, couple years later, and say, by the way, please ask Representative Jayapal again, will she please endorse whole Washington 5204? Because we're working very hard to organize for her legislation, even though we understand that we've got a veto president and immovable people like Kilmer. He didn't move with the primary challenge. I don't know that, 100 or however, 200, 300 best case scenario. I just don't know that we're going to move him after a progressive primary challenge. Okay. But we'll go do it our best. That's called solidarity. I'm literally giving hours of my time to see if we can increase and get her another co-sponsor, because it's for all of us, because we need Medicare for all. That's called solidarity. Now, how does it look that someone who represents at least Congressional District 9, is she in 9? I forget her congressional district. That might be, I don't think she's in 9. Damn, I don't even know her congressional district, because that's where, whatever. Doesn't even matter. The point is, all of her constituents and the 500,000 Washingtonians who don't have any health insurance, and double that who are underinsured. She can't be any more naive than I am. In fact, she has to be well more aware of the dynamics and all of the moving pieces at work. So there's no way that she labors under any kind of false presumption that we're suddenly going to get a ton of co-sponsors aboard this, when the marching orders from the Biden administration are, don't move on this shit at all. Can we just start talking, like, quit being namby-pamby leftists, okay? Start talking like you know what the F you're talking about, and like you're willing to be honest about something for once. So now let me go to, and I don't even get me started on the People's Party grief that, it hasn't really been that much, and I'm not even going to give that any oxygen. What I know is that brand new Congress had its own ordeal today, if any of you didn't see. So the idea that whole Washington shouldn't partner with an organization because it's had some organizational problems. Welcome to the effing world of every single org, every single party, and every single candidate. So basically, if we're going to go by that yardstick, we can't organize with anybody. And I would submit, and I suspect strongly, that if you're one of these people who thinks we can afford to just be like, oh, People's Party, I don't know, Justice Dem, not like the Justice Dems would support us anyway. Let's get real about that too. Whole Washington has tried their damnedest to get seen by anyone in the whole national nurses, we have reached out. It's just time for me, the Red Beret lady, to start being completely honest about the outreach that we've done. And we've been begging for progressive media. Thank you again to the people that have started lifting us up. Because I guess we had to get to this point where there wasn't a path. I was rationalizing it all, even throughout Bernie's campaign, even throughout all of it. I was like, okay, well, the whole damn country needs Medicare for all. So while I think it would really be awesome if we were getting like an endorsement or just an email, just send out an email, National Nurses or Bernie or Our Revolution National, just send out an email saying, if you want to buy a red beret for Medicare for all and help whole Washington, they're trying to be able to print petitions. We are not on their strategy. We are not part of their strategy. And do you know what that means? It means the 99% are not part of their strategy. Can we be very clear, like crystal clear about that? If they're saying we can wait however long it is, while we have veto Biden, then they are not with the 99%. Their strategy is not for the 99%. I don't know who their strategy is for. I don't know if they have a strategy, which is something that got brought up during Force the Vote over and over and over again. Because that was our one chance to shove this right the hell on in. Right the hell on in onto the national platform. And that's why I came out strongly for it. That's why I made a video. That's why my video was included in people sharing their stories. Yeah, I'm just pissed. I am really, really, really ticked off at this point in time. I'm tired of asking nicely. I've been a very, very nice person. I have lifted the hell on up out of the national movement and knit for it. I am sick and tired of these elected progressives thinking that they don't answer to us. You know, there was a tweet that Jason Call actually tagged me in. Thank you, Jason Call, because it was well-intentioned of him. He was paying it forward. Ilhan Omar made a tweet that was like, my Twitter feed is lacking in youth organizer voices. Please tag yourself or another youth organizer. First of all, that's kind of ageist. Secondly, I unfollowed a couple of those people, not all of them, but I'm really over it. It's like as if I should be honored to get a follow back. Whole Washington has been organizing and doing work for years now. And it hasn't only been about Whole Washington. We have organized for the national platform, done events for Bernie, done events in solidarity, gone out and flown to DC in solidarity for the historic Medicare for All hearings. I don't even know what to say about this. So I seriously hope, but again, there's what is the hope? We've been waiting. This is what I've been doing for years now, waiting. Maybe when we get enough kind of like this or this or this, maybe this. No, it's never. That's when it is. And if it is ever, then I will turn around and say thank you. You know that angry live feed I did? Well, you know, I was just trying to get you to support all of us, and you didn't at that point. So thank you for doing it now. Nothing I'm saying is dishonest or disingenuous or meant to harm the movement in any way, shape, or form. It is ridiculous to ask the people who donate their money and their time to get these progressives reelected every time. And we are the ones that are out organizing for their legislation, for our platform. And I do not care if this live feed comes across as angry. Laura's angry woman. I am certainly angry after all this time of having to beg for this state-by-state strategy. So then to have the nonsense, again, no, I'm not going to leave it alone. I'm not going to leave it alone. I don't feel that that Whole Washington or the Red Berets should be used. I don't think that we should be used by people that have grievances just to help lift up their voices for I wasn't there for any of that. That doesn't mean I don't care. It's just a separate issue from Whole Washington. Go about your business and that is not my concern. It's not my issue. I wasn't there. I can't speak to it. And quite frankly, it's ludicrous that we had any comments about it whatsoever. Look what's happened with brand new Congress. Every single organization that's been around, that's done some stuff, that's been working on things, they've had problematic people within it. They've had issues with transparency. They've had, you name it. So it's absolutely ridiculous that there was any kind of people retweeting and bothering the fact that after all this time, because, you know, there were tweets saying, we really worry that this is going to, you know, tarnish the good and excellent reputation of Whole Washington. Well, who are you tweeting at me? Have you been helping Whole Washington? Have you knit 300 Red Berets? Have you called Representative Jayapal like dozens of times asking her to endorse? How are we supposed to put the pressure that we need in order to gain endorsements? I'm looking for something. And Yeah, here. So People's Party retweeted Annalise Garcia. She says, great video by @Kyle Kolinsky, another person who does somehow seems to, we don't exist. I've shared like a grillion of his videos over time and liked a bunch of his stuff. The progressive media, like the top ones, we don't matter to them either. So they can go ahead and count themselves in with the rest of the people that are ignoring the 99%. There you go, Kyle Kolinsky. Like, I've tried to tweet at Crystal Ball and Kyle Kolinsky and other people. We have literally tried to go through every channel to say, oh, hello, we could actually open the fucking floodgates. We could open the floodgates like Canada did. Because nothing's moving on the federal legislation. Or at the very least, let's not put all of our eggs in one basket, because we have now clear evidence, 2 election cycles in a row, of what happens when you put all of your organizing eggs in one basket. And it's called the establishment comes around and with its allies in the corporate media, kneecaps the progressive, and then all of a sudden the Medicare for all and all the other platform falls out from the bottom falls out. That wouldn't happen if during the big rally in Tacoma, we would have had, and we need you to, they didn't even ask for Congressional District 6 to call Representative Kilmer to endorse Jayapal's bill. They weren't even willing to do that. They weren't even willing to give a call to action to ask people, hey, make this phone call. I'm just, I'm with that quote of Shama Sawant. When are they going to go to the mat for us? Like, what is his name? Like Joe Manchin goes to the mat for the 1%, for the donor class, for the billionaire class. Oh, hell yeah, he does. And a tweet saying Medicare for all, that's the tweet, is not going to the mat for us. Saying, we need Medicare for all. I will be introducing my legislation. I see whole Washington and Red Berets are organizing an event. We need Representative Kilmer to co-sponsor my legislation. And thank you, whole Washington. You have my endorsement. That is going to the mat. That's going to the mat. So, great video by Kyle Kolinsky on how the squad is failing their original purpose. I haven't watched the video. I responded with, I naively thought that once Biden was elected and the transition of power complete, we would all turn together to face off against a corrupt Democratic machine that is blocking healthcare justice. Turns out we are having to expend our energy begging progressive Dems. Thank you. Here's the People's Party. It's a graphic that whole Washington made in thanks that says, thank you to the People's Party. Here's the quote from People's Party. We are pleased to announce that we have partnered with Whole Washington, a grassroots coalition of healthcare professionals, activists, and volunteers fighting for single-payer healthcare. Whole Washington will be advising us as we form the National People's Party platform. End quote. So to all of the people that had something to say about Whole Washington advising on a policy platform and partnering with People's Party, why don't you utilize your energy and go ask Representative Jayapal to endorse something that will save lives in her own state? It is really, really ludicrous that we don't have her endorsement by now. It's embarrassing. And it makes the whole thing about her being a healthcare justice champion just seem very disingenuous to me. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We are in the middle of a pandemic. Do I need to say that some more? I have been completely too nice to the progressive establishment. Way too nice. And so, again, I see, well, you've missed it, David. You're going to find out this is angry Laura. But now you're here, so I'm smiling. I was just saying, like, what do any detractors have to say? Like, what are we meant to do? What have we have begged? We have certainly asked Representative Jayapal for her endorsement many, 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 many times over. So to be met on that phone call with the talking point, because that's what it is, they know exactly who we are. And to be met with, oh, does she know about you? Oh my good. Yeah, it's time, right? I have been just like this little meek, no, that's not true. I mean, I have been, the reason people have followed me is I can be pretty fiery on Twitter. And I can be pretty anti-establishment. I have been, or I wouldn't, people wouldn't think of me as a credible person, a person with a good heart. I do feel that. I'm going to give myself kudos about that. And just because I'm angry doesn't make me a bad person. I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone right now. That I'm here in Washington State. That I've literally been I've knit over 300 red berets. I don't even know where I'm at right now. Like 325 red berets. I think I'm going to start keeping track because at some point, what do I have to get to? 1,000? And years of organizing. And now she said nothing. Because what? Because she's a federal legislator. So when we were blocked from even receiving a hearing, she couldn't send out a tweet that said something like, as soon as I introduce my legislation, we are going to be demanding hearings. And did you know that whole Washington is being blocked from receiving a hearing? I cannot call her a progressive champion or a healthcare justice champion if she didn't, and she knows. She knows. That's all there is to that. And if she doesn't know, hopefully after this video, which I'm going to share on her feed, she will know. I've called. We've emailed. And then to get this kind of talking point about, does she know who you are? This is so embarrassing. And now we have a documentary filmmaker, Kenny Ballantyne, I want to tell you all the cool things. I can't though. They're not all my little secrets to give away. We are connecting up some very, very amazing and powerful dots with this documentary. Isn't it going to look at some point a little bit embarrassing that people are going to find out, not because we're malicious, this is me doing the angry video, but like if Georgia went on to Brianna Joy Gray's podcast or Katie Halper's podcast, she's not going to make it like this. She's not going to sit and scream down Rep. Jayapal for the fact that she hasn't endorsed. But, they're going to they might ask the question, well, how, when did Whole Washington start? How long have you been organizing? Well, let's see, when Bernie wasn't getting the nomination in 2016, that's before the whole business with with whatever the hell it's called. My mind isn't working very well. The convention. Oh God, that horrible, I wasn't there, but the horror stories in the film, it's absolutely ridiculous that there are people still thinking that this is a redeemable situation. So that's my other thing is like, yeah, I have a very, very strong reaction to people coming along and telling me suddenly that I'm not as credible or whole Washington is losing credibility or, maybe you're going to go support national. Go ahead. Go support national nurses. I told them I was knitting for them and inspired by them like years ago. And Nurse Bonnie has followed me back. I get a follow back. Well, it's more than I could get from Ilhan Omar. I don't care. I do not give a shit if you follow me back. I do not care about that. I want you to endorse whole Washington. National Nurses United could change things for us. Representative Jayapal could change things for us. Bernie Sanders could change things for us. They don't even need to make it a big deal. They could just send out an email saying this is happening, and it would reach tens of thousands of people. I don't even know how big that database is. So, I'm just, I'm not totally with, I am with. I gave my joyous video yesterday. I'm so happy that I came on here and I made my amazing video thanking the People's Party before I had seen any comments, ridiculous comments. I'm not saying that whatever they're claiming or whatever, that's not it. But comments like that somehow we shouldn't be partnering with an organization. Like I said earlier, look what happened with brand new Congress. It's actually it's not funny, and I'm not meaning to be funny, but it's the point. This shit happens. It's called real life, and things happen. And, like I said yesterday on my live feed, I was accused of character assassination by the Pierce County Democrats, a whole bunch of women, probably the same women wearing the pink fucking pussy hats, like marching around acting like they were for something. But as soon as I came to tell them that a Democrat had come up and put his face right up into mine and had taken a hold of my forearm, and I have witnesses, and Courtney Love is being interviewed on the documentary. Like, we are so over this shit. I have been too nice to the Democrats, and now I've been too nice to the progressive Democrats, because thinking somehow that they were going to come along and save us. I don't even want them to save us. And in fact, if you go back and check the receipts and check Whole Washington and check my damn Twitter feed that I've tweeted like gazillions of times, even though my account is pretty stifled, you will see that I have been doing this for years. I never asked any of them to rescue me. I've been doing my own shit. That's the point of Whole Washington. We never expected a savior. We never thought we were having a messiah or Bernie worship. So anyone who thinks that I worship Nina Turner or worship any of the rest of them, no, when I see people that are truth to power, who are the strongest of the whole bunch and who inspired me a whole lot over the years, knitting, listening to things, speeches of Nina Turner and seeing her out doing the actions, But I certainly don't, I'm not sitting around waiting for Nina Turner to save us. I said that. I said, if the strategy is going to sit and remain that we wait until 2020, we just can't. And we're not waiting. So, because People's Party has said, well, we're building a party and we will get your message out there. We will look to Whole Washington as a way to that people can get involved to create healthcare justice alongside of building up our party. So people that want to naysay that's just ridiculous, because go and tweet at Representative Jayapal and then retweet her tweet that says Medicare for all. That's the tweet. I don't want your tweet. I want your endorsement. We've been working very, very hard on all fronts on a solidarity strategy for years now. The fact that we cannot get your endorsement and your support, Representative Jayapal, is embarrassing, sad. People are dying. There just really isn't anything more to say about that. And I had to let this out. I had to let it out. I've given as many chances as I'm willing to give. And if you come along and endorse Whole Washington's legislation and essentially endorse your own strongest supporters, that's the thing we're talking about. That's why I said that I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. She is ignoring the very people who are the most likely to donate to her reelection, to support and go out and organize for her bill. Does she want to pass her bill? That's kind of my next question. I'm sorry, it's a legitimate question. Because if your tweet is Medicare for all, that's the tweet. You haven't even called on any of the corporate Democrats in the we need to shine a spotlight on them. You can't win Medicare for all if you're not even willing to say, hey, well done, Tacoma. I see you're going down there. We need Rep. Kilmer to co-sponsor my legislation. And now, before anybody says, well, hang on a second, give her a chance. Maybe she'll do that. Well, maybe I thought the progressives were going to turn around once Biden was safely in office and safely. That's not I didn't vote for his ass. But you know what I'm saying. Whatever their thing is, they needed to not look bad. They thought he was the lesser of two evils, whatever. Let's not even get into litigating that because I have a whole lot to say on that matter. But I thought that after that all happened, we could count on some serious, like them turning around to, because everybody knows, even people who aren't political activists. You know, I talked to somebody who's like a friend of mother of one of my son's friends. Like, yeah, she supported Bernie, but she's not all deep in the weeds like me. Even she knows this is a damn joke. People, the blinders are coming off, and people are beginning to even understand that the progressive establishment, you know, that's what I'm starting to call them now. The progressive establishment, the Medicare for all establishment, the gatekeepers of healthcare justice. You can't use the argument that you're trying to get healthcare for the whole country when we have a president who said he'd veto it. That argument, that strategy, that line of thinking, that defense for not endorsing whole Washington went away the second that Joe Biden was our nominee. The second that Bernie Sanders wasn't getting the nomination, that argument went away. Not during the general, not during the last several months, not during the first 100 days. This was way back. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right when Joe Biden said he would veto Medicare for all is when that argument officially, in case anyone had a shred of a doubt before that quote, it went away. That dissolved. That should have dissolved everything. That would have been the point where you face the fact that you're not going to get. So, man, okay, it's just kind of turned into an endless rant. What? Yeah, well, we all want to hope. We want to hope the best. I still want to hope the best. But there has to reach a point where there's a breaking point. And maybe People's Party is the breaking point for me. Maybe People's Party coming along. So you know what? You want to talk about people coming to the rescue? People's Party's come to the fucking rescue for me as an organizer. Because I just about gave up goddamn hope at this point in time. We've been begging for media. We've been fundraising, we've been knitting, we've been gathering signatures, we've been trying to grow our volunteer base, we've been doing events like Power to Heal, where we even get Dr. Dooley, we get Justin Jackson, you know, and yet we can't get our own representative in our own goddamn state. We had to get a running back from LA. Thank you, Justin Jackson. We had to get a running back from LA. And still, nothing. We get Dr. Dooley from across the country. She's willing to show some solidarity and come to do Power to Heal. One of the most important documentaries, by the way. Why wouldn't she tweet about that? Are you saying that nobody, you know, I know I put that stuff on her feed. She didn't know about any of that. Where in the fuck is the solidarity from these people? We can't win like this. We will never, ever, ever pass National Improved Medicare for All with this kind of a shit strategy. Of ignoring. I have no idea how much effort it has taken to ignore. I've been pretty tough to ignore. You know, Justin Jackson said I was relentless. I have been. I have tweeted the fuck out of things on Twitter to the point, and thankfully I'm not monetized. So now people can just share this and they can make clips and they can do whatever. I'm just so over this. We have done so much work. People are dying. You know, and then people had shit to say about Jimmy Dore. I feel like I don't know who that is. You can DM me. I've exhausted myself. But I am exhausted after this much time. But, you know, So everybody that had or has, I'm not trying to delegitimize any grievances. There's in every single organization, there's going to be some grievances, and some of them are going to be legitimate, and some of them are going to be opportunists, and some of them are going to be things where it's like people really just kind of want to. Well, a couple of the comments, I went and looked at feeds, and it was very clear that they were Democrats, that they were kind of like Justice Democrat. Obviously, some of the detractors are people who are unsatisfied with a third party approach. It's going to get scary for some people. I don't know what to tell people. Like, we've never had any. If you're upset about it, or if you have grievances about it, then go tweet at national nurses. Go send them an email saying, really? I mean, how come you guys won't endorse whole Washington? Go message Rep Jayapal. Don't come to me like with your stuff. We have a major party in the forming who is willing to come and say, we think that whole Washington is the gold standard for organizing. We need to do a grassroots, bottom up solidarity model for organizing for Medicare for all, and we have to do it state by state because we understand. Like, let's not live in la land. I don't understand how come leftists are living in la land. Do you either not care about the platform, or do you just have plenty of good insurance so you don't care whether we can wait for Nina Turner or whoever the hell is the next person? That's years down the line. The fact that we weren't elevated to where, that all this business was allowed to happen, and we weren't given a hearing, and we couldn't get any support for that. Where was OR? Where in the hell was everybody? We have a chance to fucking pass this. It's an excellent bill. Everybody can go look at it. wholewashington.org. I mean, it's disgusting. It's disgusting because we would be able to have whole Washington. Washingtonians would be covered. And then California and New York and the others would be under extreme amount of pressure. That's what open the floodgates means. Knock over the dominoes, whatever you want to say, right? All right. I've done enough on here. But I feel like, she probably won't see it anyway. Like, I've been tweeting. I've done everything. I've been emailing, I've been calling, I've been tweeting, I've been Medicare for all. That's the tweet. Maybe I'll put out a tweet today. Medicare for all. That's the tweet. What in the hell is that going to do? I'm not saying I've never sent tweets like that. But partnering with the People's Party, we've already got different state People's Party Twitter orgs, whatever, different social media accounts. And now we get to apply that pressure. I've already been doing it on social media to some degree, by saying, and I'm going to do that more and more. We can't get anything from the Democrats. They don't at the state level, it doesn't mean we don't keep trying. It's just like when people are like, where are you partnering and this and this? It's like, we go to the Democrats. I just explained to you what happened to me at a Democrat meeting. I was smeared, told that they didn't believe me. They thought I was just a character assassin, there's plenty of shit that happens. And I'm not saying that's great. No, it's not. But if somebody told me Pierce County Democrats has kind of been seeing what's happening with the People's Party coming in with solidarity, and Pierce County Democrats wants to endorse whole Washington and help, and they want to be a co-sponsor or a co-host of this event in the 27th. That is hilarious, by the way. I mean, I didn't know I was a comedian. I'm sorry. It's because it would never happen. It would never happen. But now I get to tweet at the 27th. I did a tweet earlier today where I tagged at 27th LD Democrats. Please blah blah blah, and then I tagged Lori Jenkins and Jeannie Darnell and all the same, and I've gone to their meetings and I've begged and I've brought whole Washington. Other people can go and beg the Democrats. I'm seriously done doing that. I've done a lot of work on this. I don't like begging for something that is on their state party platform. Now we're at the point where what we need to be doing is turning and attacking is a really aggressive term, but we need to be calling them out. So once in a while, I retweet Tina Podlowski, who is the state Democratic Party chair. She needs to be tweeted at saying with whole Washington stuff, saying, how come you where's your retweets of whole Washington? Have you donated to wholewashington.org today? Have you tweeted about it? Have you asked all of the different LDs? Hell no, she hasn't. She does not support it. It's progressives that got it on the platform. But the entire state, all of our representatives at the state level and federal Democrats are completely ignoring the platform. And we don't even have it on the National Democratic Party platform. So then I just always think it's real funny to see any detractors. They should take whatever issues that they have and continue to try to build and grow an organization and help make it better. Or they should go to the Green Party National and say, Green Party National, how come we're part of your party, or why are we not? We don't have a Medicare for all white president. Why don't you do like People's Party is doing? We haven't been reached out to by them. It's not that we wouldn't love to also partner, like I have mentioned before, and given due credit to the Washington State Green Party that have shown incredible solidarity. Any other organizations that want to come along, including Democrat LDs, Green Party National, because Green Party Washington already has. Brand new Congress, Justice Democrats. But pardon me for my skepticism. I just don't think it's just not forthcoming. So definitely, but if you're somebody who has issues with MPP, like you just think like that's not the thing for you. Okay, well, it doesn't reflect poorly on whole Washington or on Red Berets. It doesn't reflect poorly on you. But it does if you're going to continue to use your Twitter time to try to tear shit down. Go find an organization or some people that will support whole Washington and do it that way. That's all. It's called coalition building, And whole Washington, as it's already been said in this other live feeds and on my Twitter, for those of you who don't know how this works, whole Washington can't endorse parties and they can't endorse candidates. They can make a meme that says thank you. And we're happy to be in this collaboration or partnership. That's different than an endorsement, okay? And whole Washington has to partner with every single organization, party, person. We have to go to events. We just can't afford. We just have to with everybody. And it's my pleasure as board member of whole Washington and as the founder of Red Berets, it is my pleasure and my gratitude to People's Party because we have been effing ignored. And so to have a party that comes in and says, we won't ignore you. Thank you.